Yeah.
Another first timer. All right. Well, we are on a patio. We are not on our normal back patio recording studio, but we are in a very special episode of the Honeymoon Coffee Company podcast. We are actually on a patio at a 4-star hotel, or would that be Cuatro Estrellas?
See.
And that voice you heard was Ethan Price of the Honeymoon Coffee Company and his wife.
Hey.
What's your name?
Samantha Price.
She's the one who hasn't been on the podcast before.
Way to put her on the spot, babe.
All right, and we are actually on our first ever coffee origin trip, which in the coffee world is when coffee shops or roasters usually will go all the way to the farm of one of the origins, the countries of origin where we get our coffees and actually see the farms, meet the farmers, see the processes, and we are kind of right in the middle of that trip. And today is a full moon, so we are going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get to know one of the, I think you guys are actually the first honeymoon couple that actually met and then married while at honeymoon, right?
I think
Yeah,
so.
I'm pretty sure.
The first of many, maybe. So, all right, well, since Ethan, you've been with us longer, why don't we start a little bit with you? Tell us where you grew up and then how you got to honeymoon.
Okay, yeah. I was born in California and spent some time moving around growing up in Texas, in Japan, and then mostly in southern Illinois. And so coming to Evansville for college was in 2017, the fall of 2017.
Yeah.
And I needed a part-time job going into the spring of 2018 to save up for Harlexton and just to be able to buy some groceries.
And Harlexton is the exchange program, right? Explain Harlexton real quick for folks.
Yeah, so Harlexton is another campus that the University of Evansville owns over in England. So students can essentially go overseas to study. And
For like a full semester, right? I mean, all your
Yeah.
classes are there and you get to explore Europe, and it's a pretty cool deal.
Totally. So, I didn't drink coffee or didn't really have a dream to be a barista one day, but I walked into honeymoon, and I had one drink before, and it was my first one was at Honeymoon Coffee Co. on Weinbach.
Okay. So what was your first drink?
My first drink was 16-ounce white chocolate mocha with whole milk.
Okay, solid. Solid.
A former barista.
And after that, you said, I want to work here.
Something like that. I remember putting in an application and having an interview with you, Zach, and the manager. And
Yes, Zach gets credit for the hiring of Ethan, but I get credit for the hiring of Sam.
Nice. Okay, all right. Well, we'll pause Ethan's story there a little bit. So now Ethan's at honeymoon in 2018. So Sam, tell us a little bit about you, where you were born, kind of where you grew up, and how you got to honeymoon.
Well, I grew up in Evansville, so nothing super exciting. And then, no, I actually really love Evansville. I hated it for a while growing up and was always like, I need to get out of Evansville. And so
then you did.
I did, yeah. I moved to Florida. I had already been interested in the coffee scene before then just because of Proper Coffee. It was an old coffee shop that was in like the front of a hair school.
Yeah.
And it was right across the street from my high school. So I would walk over there and it was just a really great place to connect with people. And I had like some of the best conversations of my life there. So that's like what got me into coffee. So then fast forward, I moved down to Florida with Parlor Donuts. It's a donut shop that started in Evansville. And
that was connected with Parlor Coffee, right? Like that.
Yes.
Proper. So
Yep.
Proper Coffee sort of merged. So the same people, the same vibe. You're following that trail.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
So we went down to Florida for the first franchise for Parlor, and so I worked with them, and it was a really fun experience. And then
You got a tattoo.
yeah, I did get a tattoo, and they changed their logo. So I hope people know what it is, but maybe not anymore. But it was the thought that counted.
You just need to turn the donut into a coffee, like a mug of coffee with wings.
I get Harry Potter's golden snitch a lot.
Nice.
So
We need to include a picture of this in the podcast for people. We'll do
yes. Yeah. So, anyways, while I was down in Florida, there was a place that we stayed that was connected to like a transitional living home for people in Panama City, and it was funded by a coffee shop down there. And so I ended up staying in Florida. It was right after COVID had happened, and so I stayed there and worked at the coffee shop there. And then I met Ethan and a few other friends, and I ended up moving back to Evansville.
Did you meet Ethan on a visit or visit back home, or how did you guys meet? I don't want to skip over this part. This is an important part of the story.
We actually talked about this yesterday, and we're like, how do we keep this short? Because it's such a long story. You want to share?
To keep it short, we went on a trip to go visit some of her friends in North Carolina.
Who's we?
My friend Jacob, he's also a roaster in Evansville, and he's just a great guy, one of my best friends. And he invited me along because the invitation was extended to him. With Sam and one of her friends, Leah, who also worked for Honeymoon. And
And now you're both married.
And now they're married to each other.
Wow.
We call it the North Carolina crew.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yes, but I didn't really know Sam before that trip, and so that was just kind of a whim of a decision. And on our way back from that trip is when she was moving back, and when she was going to start working at Honeymoon.
Wow.
So you recommended her to apply at Honeymoon because you were already working there. And you thought she was cute.
No. So this
Not
is
at all.
kind of part of the story.
Oh.
It's funny. It's funny. We laugh about it now. I did not. I didn't think we would be great friends when I first met Sam. And I'm not one to maybe like show that very, very easily, but I just knew Sam was very eccentric, very talkative in the airport, and I was like, wow, this is going to be a long weekend.
You had no idea how long.
Yeah, you were dating someone at the time in North Carolina,
Correct.
And so I think just any idea of Sam being a romantic interest was like the farthest thing away.
She wasn't in the friend zone. She was in the I might be friends with her.
No.
Shut up, so
She's in the annoying zone.
But I think a big part about just those few days we were together was I just realized like how like maybe judgmental I was towards her like first glance. She was really sweet and joyful and like brought a lot of color to a lot of people's lives, and I think at the end of the trip I could confidently say like she's like a good friend. We were very different.
she's in the friend zone now.
But coming back to work at Honeymoon too, I mean she had like blue hair, she had
I think I remember this.
Yeah.
It was just like fun to be able to work as friends and get to know each other that way.
All right, and what year would this have been now? Let's get our timeline up to date.
This would be 2021. I started January of 2021 at Honeymoon.
Okay. And so at this point, Ethan has been with us. He's drank more than one cup of coffee and has kind of fallen in love with coffee in a way that he didn't expect. And even started to kind of, we didn't have a lot of ranks to ascend in the company, but there was opportunity to become a manager. And had you been a manager at that point yet by 2021?
I had not
Okay.
been a manager. Yeah.
But we knew that was maybe something that you might be interested in, and that's where we get in 2021. So now you guys are both working for us. Are you both single at this point, or when did the sparks really start flying?
I was still single. I'll let you answer.
Let's see. The guy that I was dating in North Carolina, shout out David Tio. We still love him and are friends with him.
I'm sure he's listening.
I know.
Shout out
I'm gonna have to
David.
send this to him. But yeah, no, we ended our relationship in January and stayed friends because he was part of the community out in North Carolina. So it wasn't no hard feelings. And so after that, I think I started having feelings for you like March, really fast.
Wow.
It was pretty fast. I remember feeling like there seems to be something here between you guys.
This is 2021 or 2022?
21.
21.
Yeah.
So Ethan claimed that he did not feel the same still, but I did not believe it.
Yeah. There was a shift I remember having with Sam, and we were in the kitchen in the back, and part of her last breakup, I think she was just feeling and just voicing and processing with me and about the dating process, and just kind of feeling worn out with the trial and error, seeing if someone's good enough. And so she said the lines that I won't forget. She said, "Whoever would date me next better be like ready to marry like pretty soon." I said, "Wow, good luck finding that guy."
And it happened in the honeymoon Weinbach kitchen?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Good luck finding that guy. Wow.
Yeah,
Very
so I think
nice prophecy there.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of like weight to consider if I did start seeing her that way, to just know that it would be a little bit more serious.
That was in the back of your mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time I was done with dating, and if a guy wanted to pursue me, it would be an engagement. So
Okay.
I kissed dating goodbye. Yeah. Well, okay, and so then I'm trying to remember. Did we have a policy against people dating, or was it sort of an unwritten rule or a gray area we didn't care about?
No, in 2021 we had no policies, so
Okay.
everything was super relaxed. But I do remember specifically passing you guys in the car. I saw you together outside of work, and in my mind I was like, oh, okay. And then my second thought was, I don't want anything to go wrong here and lose either one of you, just because you were both great and we loved having you on the team. So I think we all were kind of holding our breath to see what would happen.
Sure, yeah, this could go one of two ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how did he make the move? Or did he? How did you make the move, Sam?
I think I expressed interest in you, and you said, "I still see you as a friend." And I said, "That's totally fine." And then it was normal after that.
Yeah.
And then we went down to Florida for spring break, and I'll let him tell the rest.
Yeah. So I just wanted to be clear with Sam that I was still just cool with being friends. But we went on a trip with quite a few folks from our community. There was like a group of like 10 of us that went down to visit her, kind of like family of sorts down in Panama City. And being down there, I was just really surprised and encouraged by the way that she was embraced by people down there, and like seeing her two families sort of collide in a community, and she just came alive. Like, I don't know if it was from like going from cold weather to hot weather. Like, it was just really, kind of being seen in a new light. And we were working alongside each other a lot down there too, doing dishes or helping with the kids. And it kind of clicked that I don't know too many girls in my life that would even be okay with me working at a coffee shop as kind of a career. And
She saw you doing those dishes, and she said, "I'd like him to do the dishes at my house."
Well, actually, when we were down there, I think the moment that I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be my husband," was there was a guy that had come in to the ARC, which is the transitional living home, and he had come off the beach from sleeping there for a few days, and his legs were like completely peeled, sunburnt. And so me and Ethan were rubbing aloe vera all over his legs, and I was like, I don't know many guys that would do that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
Wow.
okay, this is it.
Oh, that's sweet.
But, yeah, I think that's funny. But
So, Ethan, at this point, had you decided to drop out of PT school already, or were you still a student? I can't remember in 2021.
Correct. So at the end of the fall semester in 2020 is when I had talked to professors, advisors, parents, and just decided to transition out of physical therapy.
Into coffee full time.
Into coffee full time.
Okay.
Okay. And so at what point did we promote you into management?
We sat down in December
Of 2020?
Of 2020.
Yeah, okay,
And
that's
talked
right.
about me stepping into the role January 1st.
So this was also a bit of a transition point for us because I feel like this was the first time that we really could see ourselves providing enough income for someone to be in coffee full time. Like we had just started kind of like hitting our stride.
Yeah, we had opened
A second store.
2.5 locations,
Yeah.
I think, at that point. 2019 was sort of a big growth year for us. And then I think by the end of 21, we were back down to only 2 locations. But we knew, we kind of figured out what was working and what wasn't, and we knew the third location was coming. So, but how long did that stint last for you in management? I'm trying to remember.
It lasted 7 months, which was the week that I stepped down was the week that was before Sam and I were going to get married. So
Okay.
that timeline kind of...
Yeah.
So you guys kind of switched roles and then Sam took over.
No, we
Or was there someone else?
Babe, they moved. Look, you're getting ahead of yourself.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, so we tried this management position and it wasn't quite the right fit. But then your time and energy was starting to be pulled towards Sam. So now tell us the story of the engagement.
you go.
Yeah. So when we were in Florida, that spring break trip,
Rubbing the aloe vera on the guy's legs.
yeah, maybe about 2 days later, I had talked to Jacob, my best friend, and just kind of asked him what he thought about maybe me like pursuing Sam in that way, and he said I didn't need to make it too complicated, and he saw who I was, knew who he was, and just said, yeah, I could see that. And so that next night, I told Sam that I told her that I saw a lot of good in her, and I saw that she was someone that I wanted to pursue, and it seemed like all the things that would have to go by the wayside were worth it. Just the thought of like another guy pursuing you seemed like I wanted that opportunity. Yeah. So I didn't have a ring or anything like that, but I think we knew if I could have like a month or 2 to save up to get something, then that led us to May 5th, and I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I think when he told me that, I think I said, you know what that means, right? And he did. So, yeah, we started saving up for a ring, and then we got engaged on May 5th out at
State Hospital.
State Hospital. Yes, the little garden in
Yeah.
the State Hospital area. So he proposed to me there, and one of our friends, Justin, was hiding in the bushes, and he got down on one knee, and I think you dropped the ring.
I did drop the ring.
So he found it quickly, so it was okay. And then we got engaged, and right after that, our friends had a whole picnic, or you had a whole picnic set up with all of our friends, and we just feasted together. Yeah.
Well, and then the wedding was set pretty quickly after that. You guys didn't have like a long engagement, right?
Correct, yeah. August 7th, we got married in Panama City.
So you went from friends in January to married in August, right?
Correct.
Is that timeline correct?
And then now we can sort of get to right before, I'm trying to remember when this was, but once you step down from the management role, like there were some things that really worked, and we were like, we love Ethan, and Ethan is bringing out really a lot of good in people when he's doing training and when he's able to sort of focus on some of the coffee education. But there were other aspects of management that just wasn't the right fit for you, and it wasn't that you weren't trying; it just wasn't the right fit. So we knew that you had new expenses that were going to come into play. It's like, how do we give Ethan a job that he can take care of himself and his new family with? And so I think I remember saying to you, hey, we have an opportunity to acquire Tim's roasting business, and we need a roaster, and we think you might be a great fit for it. And he said something like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, so
I know what Sam feels like now.
yeah, in that timeline, right after we got married, we both lived right across the street from Weinbach, above a garage, and we were just both baristas for a whole year and just had shifts side by side. And after that year was over, we kind of were questioning what we were going to do with our lease, if we wanted to renew it, or just what was on the road ahead. And we had an opportunity from a family down in Florida that wanted to just take us in, and they had like 3 little kiddos, and just getting an experience of like family life there. And so that was kind of around the same time we asked if I wanted to be a roaster, which sounded awesome, but I think we had already started making steps towards spending time with them, and we didn't know what that timeline looked like.
Yeah, and then what did that timeline end up looking like?
4 months.
So after 4 months, I remember you guys sent us a text and you said, hey, can we schedule a phone call or a Zoom call? It wasn't like, here's some news. It was like, this is news that we want to be able to deliver with our voices, or maybe even like on Zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, either they're pregnant or they're coming back to Evansville. And go ahead, tell us about that decision and what you guys were thinking.
Totally. We were realizing while we were there, we worked at some coffee shops while we were in Florida, and that was a great experience, and we loved the teams that we got to work with. I think for the family's youngest daughter, we were realizing that at some point it'd be nice for them to maybe get to utilize that guest room and start just creating space for their family. And most of our community and our family that we were missing all kind of exists around Midwest, Southern Illinois, Southern Indiana, and it just seemed like if we were going to transition back home, it would be during a slow season for the Florida shops, which is winter and not during spring break when it's really busy. And so, I think you and Jess had checked in on us just while we were down there, which was just sweet, just seeing how life was going. And when we hopped on the call, I think Sam and I had talked about just coming back to help in whatever capacity. You said the doors would be open to whether that was a shopkeeper or just a barista again. I was happy with whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think at that point, we also had some growth and had an opening for a management position for Sam, or was that a little later? Or did you come back as a manager right away?
I think that was when Aaron was moving out.
Okay.
And so I think I stepped in right when we got back, yeah.
Yeah.
So we lose both of you, and then we get both of you back. And with increased responsibilities, you guys had a chance to get to know each other, grow as a couple. I think you both matured during that time as well. And then now it's been, was that 2 years this month, next month?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're back. You guys, Ethan is our head roaster. Sam is our lead shopkeeper manager at our Weinbach location. And we're here visiting a coffee farm. So a lot has happened. And then you guys are moving into your first home in, a couple weeks, 3 weeks by the end of the year?
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully on December 2nd is our closing date, if everything goes well.
Okay. Everything needs to go well.
I hope so.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've done with Ethan in years past, we'll be doing again, is kind of a year review, and then also some goals, for the next year. And I think your goal for 2024 was maybe taking the property next to our West Side location and building like little homes in the hills, like the Shire or a treehouse homes or something like that.
That would be cool.
We didn't quite get to that one, but as you guys both look ahead to your future, let's say 1 year, 5 years, what are you guys hopeful for your marriage, for honeymoon, both?
Do you want to answer first? Or?
No, you can go.
Okay. I don't think I could have imagined 2 years ago sitting here in Colombia, roasting coffee and like being, married to Sam and like buying a home. So it's hard to envision what 5 years down the line looks like, but within this next year, it would just be sweet to continue to grow in the role of roaster and see wholesale partners thrive, to learn more about this side of the industry, and I think that's part of the role of this trip. And on the home front, just kind of making a house into a home. I think that's something I'm really excited about. What about you?
I would say for marriage-wise, probably in 5 years, hopefully having a kid.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And in the next year, just getting everything finished at our house, or mostly finished, and opening up that space for a lot of hospitality, because I feel like that's what Ethan and I are very passionate about. So with hospitality too, at honeymoon, I would love to see probably 2025 be the year of more events at the Weinbach shop, and I've really appreciated you guys letting me kind of put my fingerprint all over Weinbach and make it feel like my own, but also not my own. That's been so sweet. And then I think also just growing with my co-manager, Sierra Ritter. She's absolutely amazing. So just getting to continue moving alongside her and working alongside her has been sweet, and we've had a really good team this year. So hopefully next year we have people stay longer, which would be awesome, because with being by a college, there's a pretty decent turnover rate. So I would love to see some more steady people that are like wanting to do coffee full time. And then probably the last thing would be hopefully expanding Evansville's flavor palette with coffee and getting more creative with drinks, and maybe bringing some different like rosemary or thyme or some of those flavors into coffees and into our lattes would be really awesome.
Well, that was beautiful.
Sorry.
No, it was great.
We didn't give you that question in advance, but you were ready.
Yeah. And it did bring back some of the things we probably could have highlighted about how you guys lead. And I'll let Jessica also, we can kind of close with this, just how we have appreciated both of you and how you do sort of live out hospitality, not just when you come into work. It's almost like the work-life balance for you guys is both non-existent and perfect, because it's like you guys are just so in integrity with each other and what the shop needs and what your family needs and what each of you need. Like there are plenty of times where one of you will cover for the other, and it's like, well, it needs to get done. And or you will open up your home for employees that you didn't even hire, that we hired and said, these are your people. And you've said, okay, now there are people. And the way that you host them and love them and pour into them is something that's always encouraging to us to see. And I think you guys do a better job, running Weinbach than we did. So that's been encouraging for me over the last couple of years. What about you, babe?
Yeah, I just because I've seen you guys grow, and even with Ethan, like I met you as like this like 19-year-old boy who's now a man, and so I think it's been really sweet to watch your all's journey. And I just know how much you love coffee and you care about people. So it's really a great fit for our company, where we're not so profit driven. We really want to see our community, our team, our customers have a great experience. So I know you told me thank you for letting you put your stamp on Weinbach, but now that we have 4 locations, we couldn't do this without you guys. So we're super grateful for you all.
Why am I going to cry right now?
It's okay. Nobody can see it.
That's fair.
And I'll just add to you guys, like, you as a married couple, like, owning a shop, like, you guys have had such a, like, caring, like, nature as, like, owners of a business that it's sweet to see that even be possible, like, husband and wife. Opening up a space for a community is beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys will end up opening up your own, place someday. But in the meantime, we are more than happy to open up our spaces and let you guys take over and bring good things to them. And I hope Evansville is ready for all that we are going to bring back from this trip. So we're going to wrap up and get ready to head to our second coffee farm of the day. And we're going to watch the sunset tonight. And then we will probably, I think they said we were going to do some dancing under the full moon.
Oh, okay. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go! Vamos!
Well, that's it. Thank you for listening to the show this week. The Honeymoon Coffee Company podcast is produced in partnership with the Nectar Podcast Network, with music by Sam Cuban and podcast production by me, Wesley Luttrell. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll be back again soon.